one being representing a man for Uptown TV. You understand?
Talk about regarding the Putin's final warning to the reckless West. And we're going to talk about that with Kwame Pianke just after 9:30 or thereabouts. So he's going to be joining us back on the phone lines. But lots happening in Ghana, and we want to go live to Ghana. Do we have our sister Tendai on the phone lines? We're going to be live to Ghana for a little while, just to bring us up to date with the good news coming out of Ghana. Wow, good news regarding citizenship. And we have on the phone lines, I think, my sister Tendai Muamini Shenzira Fudel. And she's live and in living color in Ghana, West Africa. My sister, how are you?
I am blessed, highly favored, and just awesome.
I'm so happy to hear you. Listen, before we go to the good news re-citizenship, I know that you are on location right now because as we speak, there is a really big event happening right there in Ghana on the ground. I think I'm hearing in the background, I'm hearing drumming. Am I right?
You hear some drumming.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to go up a little way.
Okay. All right. So you're actually right now at the annual celebration of the ancestors at the African Ancestral Wall. What exactly is that, Sister Tendai?
Well, every year, but it's Jerry's here. He's been teaching young people about our ancestors all over and what they've done and everything. And so he's teaching them. He's been teaching them. And so now the young people now are teaching us. They actually are putting on like a whole play, and they're explaining the different kingdoms and how large they were, who the people were, and then doing the dramatization. This is awesome to see these young babies knowing our story with power.
Mm-hmm. And I love the theme because it says, let the ancestors speak and watch the students teach. That's a theme, isn't it?
Yes, that's the theme.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So, and this is the 6th annual. Where exactly is the Ancestral Wall?
It's in Prom, which is about an hour from Accra.
Right. And what format is this taking? So the students are literally, let the ancestors speak and the students teach. The students are literally the ones leading today, or they're the ones communicating with the elders?
No, they are doing everything. The students they becoming Fred Hampton, Felix Moko, Nihanda, Martin Luther King, Hatshepsut. They are actually acting out these parts, and they're speaking for them, and they're speaking in their language, and it's awesome. And then they show us where the big kingdoms, how far the kingdoms were. See, I came last year, and I didn't even understand how big these kingdoms were.
Yes,
because these other folks chopped them all up. And we've done so much, and our babies are learning it.
Wow.
And I give thanks.
Yeah. I love that. Are we able to hear anything from there? I know you've walked away from where everything is happening, but are we able to hear any of what's happening there?
Yeah, not yet, because they just got the music going right now.
Okay.
The children, I see them just now starting to walk out.
Okay, and I can hear that sound in the background. All right, and the big news coming out of Ghana, and this is a double whammy, a double celebration, because the big news coming out of Ghana is that Ghana has granted citizenship to returning Africans who have been in Ghana for some time. How long? This happened on Thursday, right?
It happened Tuesday.
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 All right, tell us about that, Mama Tendai, because do you have to be in Ghana for a while, and how did that work?
This was actually President's decree, and you did not have to be in Ghana for a while. Some people, like myself, we have residency. some people didn't have residency. They just heard about it. And they came over. And they said, I want my citizenship. So this was a president decree. And so all the different things that you needed before to get to be naturalized, you didn't have to have it this time.
Oh.
You know, there were a few things you had to do, fingerprints, and you had to do background checks. They had to do that.
Yes.
But all the other stuff, we didn't have to do that. You didn't have to have residency. You just had to be from what we call the hub, right? These are historically folks who were historically taken away. Yes. So no white folks can't say, well, I was born in Ghana. No. Your people weren't taken away. It's a no. And so we had 524 of us, and it was all of us was African descendants, truly African descendants. Not no play business.
534. 44. Wow. I saw those videos that you sent and posted, and believe me, I mean, I just got chills and goose pimples, and my head just kept raising and raising and raising. This is really phenomenal. Was it a long process? Because I know the president had announced this. Was it a pretty long process, and how did this come to be?
Because there's so many that everybody has to be interested.
We're losing you. We're losing you a bit there, Tendai.
So it started. Okay. Can you hear me now, better?
Oh yeah, that's much better.
Okay. Yeah. So everybody had to do, background checks, interviews, and fingerprints and stuff like that. So it took a little while. So, well, I'm saying a little while from September to now. So September to the 19th of November. That was long for me because I was so ready.
I was just going to say to you, Tendai, that's not long.
Once I started and I knew what was going to happen, I was like, I need it now.
Yeah. Okay.
I opened the paper up and my name was there. My daddy's name, my grandmama's name, my mother's name was there. Oh my gosh.
So I can just imagine. I mean, how many, or do you know? Let me know if tell us if you know the different places, as you say, hub that persons came from, and how many were there from Jamaica? Do you know?
Oh my gosh! So most of them from America. The next big group is from Jamaica, and a couple of from other Caribbean. There's a few, and you have a few from UK, but most of us are from either Jamaica or America. And we hear seriously. Seriously.
Yeah. Wow. I love that. I know this is something that, as you know, that we've been advocating for the very longest time, the right to return and the right to citizenship and so on. Is this within a wider context, or is it just for this group? What does it mean for those who are...
No.
Yeah.
This is actually the third group they have done. They did like 100 songs. In 2019, when they did their first, when they called it the year return, and then in 22 they did 100 more. But this time was 520, and it was like, okay, we got to bring our people back home. And we've been advocating. We have the African American Association, the Caribbean Social.
All right, did I lose you? Okay, good. I'm hearing you now. I'm hearing you now. I'm hearing you.
Been advocating and said, no, we need to come home. We need to come home, and we need to be home. One thing to come here, it's a thing when when Mama said come home. When Mama's opened her arms to you, it's a total different kind of thing.
Yes.
So we are all excited. And so tomorrow I'm working on get my because I have a non-citizen Ghana card. So tomorrow I'll get my citizen Ghanaian card.
Yeah.
And the next day I'm working on my passport.
Look
So,
at them.
yes.
Yeah, and this is great. This is really great news. I'm hoping that, over time, and we see what Ghana is doing, we're hoping that over time it is automatic. You come in and there's a process that is automatic. But at least there's a start. And you're saying this is going on from 2019. We did talk about it in 2022, and then here we are now in 24. For those who are in Ghana now, who have returned, but they weren't in this batch, what is the process for them? Do you know?
I'm not sure yet, but I we have an election coming up in a couple of weeks. So the old president who was here before, who started this, was under the NDP, was under Nkrumah's group. Mm-hmm. So he's looking like he's gonna come back in. Mm-hmm. So I think it won't be long before it's going to happen again.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And when Ghana open the doors, other countries are not opening their doors and saying, we have to bring our folks back too. Yeah, we still see Ghana as the gateway to the continent of Africa. Understanding that the continent of Africa is, we're talking about 50-odd countries. I mean, each country individual. And while you have blocks that it is what it is in terms of the different countries and the different policies. North Africa by itself is a whole different kettle of tea. And then here you have West Africa, there's East Africa. So I know we say one Africa, one nation, but really and truly that's a misnomer, not now. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So is Ty Biko with you? He's up there. I tried to get him to come down, but he was still there. They're up chatting. Everybody's so excited.
I know.
Where we at now, there's some folks here who just came here visiting. And so they want to know everything. And so
yes.
I couldn't pull them away.
Okay. So I'm going to let you go. But any final word? Because Jamaica's listening, as you know, and not just Jamaica. We're all over the world. So any final word to our sisters and brothers who want to come home or thinking of coming home?
Richard, look here. Don't let nothing stop you. And don't wait till this get done or that thing get done. It's never going to get done. Come home. Mama is calling you. Come home.
Wow.
You are welcome. Come home.
Thank you so much, Mama Tendai. Thank you so much, my sister. I'm soon come look for you. Look here. This is brilliant news. This is great news. We love this. I know Sister P must be listening. I remember when Sister P stood up at in the conference center in 1992, I think it was, along with Eileen Gifford, and they made this call. This that has happened. They made this call in the strongest of terms, and here we are now. How many years after? But see we are.
We're here.
My sister. Once again, congratulations, and we'll keep in touch with you most definitely. We love what we see happening.
I'll let you know when anything happens. I'll keep you abreast of what's going on.
I love that. Thank you so much, Mama Tendai, live in Ghana. Thank you so much, my sister. Where the Ghanaian government has just granted citizenship again to, you heard the number, 544 returning Africans from the African diaspora who have returned to Ghana. And they've been doing this in batches, as you heard, 2019, 2022, and now. And what we're expecting, and I'm sure it's going to happen at some time, is that this will be automatic, and we've tried the Africa Union, but the Africa Union is a whole lot of kettle of tea, isn't it? So the Africa Union is controlled by the West, and there are many different agendas within the Africa Union that it is now impotent to do much. We see them with the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement recently, and even that is smoke and mirrors, Even that is a three-card game. And I say that, and I'm sure I know I can defend that. So continental Africa is what it is, and understanding, though, our place in Africa and as Africans, in the word of Kwame Nkrumah, Sergeant for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, we're Africans not because we were born in Africa. We're Africans because Africa was born in us. And then you look at South Africa, where apartheid has returned in full and bright and living colors. And we want to see how that plays out within the BRICS, because that's a whole other situation. And you look at East Africa, which is holding strain and resisting settler colonization and neo-colonization and so on. And we look at countries like Mali and Burkina Faso and Senegal and some of those within the so-called Francophone. We hate to say that, but just so you understand, Togo, Benin, and so on, others that need to join that revolution or renaissance, if you will, because we talk about the African Renaissance. Then you look at North Africa. North Africa, for us, we're locked out as Africans bearing Jamaican nationalities. So I've been trying to get to the Minister of Foreign Affairs with the situation in North Africa. And we've tried many, many different ways with no response. And the last response we got was that they would not officially comment. And, so I don't even know what to make of it. But I'm going to try. Maybe I should have been saying this publicly to Kamina Johnson-Smith, the minister, that we've been trying, if not to get you in the space, but to talk to somebody from the ministry and to get some idea as to what is the policy, what is Jamaica's policy regarding North Africa. What is a reason for Jamaica and Jamaicans, Africans in Jamaica, to be locked out, literally locked out of North Africa? I might have been the last one to have gone to Egypt without, it was a great hassle, but led through in the old way, if you will, and it wasn't even quite the old way. So now, Tunisia, for example, there's just no way to get there. I find this in 2024, it is just beyond belief that for us in Jamaica, and I'm a traveler, I've been to almost every continent, if not every continent. I've been traveling all my life. So now I'm second guessing myself. How does one with a Jamaican passport get to Tunisia? Because Jamaicans need a visa to Tunisia. And Tunisia tells us that for us to get a visa to go there, we have to go to Ecuador. And Ecuador tells us that for us to get a visa to go to Tunisia through Ecuador, we have to take our passport to Ecuador and be there for 3 months. So if you want to go to Tunisia, you have to leave Jamaica, go to Ecuador, stay in Ecuador for 3 months, and you must get it. You must get it. I see my sister Tendai calling me, so let me take a break. And
make unbearable medical bills for your child.
So I was talking about North Africa, and after that link with Mama Tendai. And so the phone rang, and it was Mama Tendai calling back. So I said, no, if she's calling me back, this is important. So I made that break, went to the phone, and I heard, no, this is Mama Marimba. So Mama Marimba Ani is there in Ghana, right beside Mama Tendai. This is just, I have goose pimples all over my body. It's not going to work this way. Mama Marimba, how are you, my sister? Greetings.
You see me. Because I have brought Nana Thomas Sankara here to the Ancestral Wall. So that's who I am right now,
Yes.
today.
Yes. Thomas
So we
Sankara.
need that African revolutionary spirit to energize, inspire, and teach the children.
Yes.
So we have a new generation of African revolutionaries.
And how important is this activity that is underway, this ritual, if you will, that is underway right now?
Okay.
Because as you said, Baba Thomas Sankara, Baba Patrice Lumumba just came right into the space, and I'm just going to tell you that.
Right.
Yes.
Let me explain where we are. It is the African Ancestral Wall, and Baba Jerry Johnson has built this wall in a compound of 92 portraits of our warrior ancestors. And the portraits he had them commissioned by different artists. We're here in Ghana, in Prom Prom. The portraits are about maybe 4 feet by, I would say 2 or 3 feet. They're quite large. There are 92 of them. When you first come in, Nana Garvey is facing you along with Nana Kwame Nkrumah. And then they go throughout. You walk the walk. We call it walking the wall. Have been done.
Okay, so stay right where you are, Mama Marienberg, because I lost you for a minute there.
Dr. Ben, Nana Winnie Mandela, and Nana Frances Cress Welsing. So that makes 92.
Yes.
But it's an incredible, let's say, homage to our ancestors, but our warrior ancestors. It brings forth the ongoing fight against colonialism, neo-colonialism, and those who built for Africa, for our African power and African unity. And so the wonderful thing is that Baba Jerry Johnson did this for the children and for the children in the surrounding area. He goes to the schools and gets the children and brings them to the wall and teaches them about these ancestors. And then on this special day that you calling a ritual, it is a celebration. The children actually become these ancestors, and they act that out for the community. And Africans here come from, the surrounding area in Accra, Volta region, and so forth. And it's about to get started. So
I'm gonna let you go, but just quickly,
happening since 2018.
Take a minute before, take just 30 seconds before you go to talk about will the circle be unbroken?
Oh, definitely. Somebody just brought here to us one of the original copies of the original edition that was actually, we put it in book form in 1988. But what we have here today are some copies of the new and expanded edition, which we have just recently published. And
so
it has some special
All right.
that I think the children will be dealing with today, called Praise Song to the Ancestors. It's just something that I wish everybody could have.
Right.
I
know that
it's reader friendly.
How
but
can
it's also deeply spiritual and
where is
calling for African revolution. So
where is it available?
That's Let the Circle Be Unbroken, and it is the place where I originally how shall we put it, coined the term Ma'afa. It was for this publication, so this is where it came out. I never ever thought that it would become a term that everybody,
I know. Well, you as you did with Urugu, Mama Marimba, I'm going to let you go because I know that the event is starting, but we'll keep in touch. I really, really am totally just over the moon for this conversation. This conversation was important. Thanks to you. Thanks.
Well, actually, there's more time. So if there are, questions that you have that you think your audience would be interested in, for one thing, I'm thinking it's extremely important that we watch developments that are happening now in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, as I see it, I'm reading Nkrumah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading Check Out the Joke, which everybody needs to get his book, Black Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm watching Burkina, Mali, Niger.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking about, in Nkrumah's term, the embers, what does he call it? Embers of, of the revolutionary fire. That, in other words, we need, and then I want to tell you, Mama, that we have a newspaper called The African World.
Yes.
Which we're trying to get throughout the African world. We've been doing it now. This will be the 9th volume coming out in May.
Mm-hmm.
But we did a special edition this year.
Yes.
And that report. And it's actually the first time we've done it online, and it was inspired by the young people taking revolutionary action in Kenya,
mm-hmm.
who in turn were encouraged and influenced by Africans in, Burkina
Faso
and the Sahel group.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something which I would want everybody to get. And that would be the...
and it is online. It's the African World, and it is
the War Report.
Mm-hmm. Or the War Report.
I'm trying to think about. Oh, I know. You are in touch with and close to one of my sons.
Yes.
And that is Shakara.
Yes.
Who has Kimbunga Media.
Yes.
And if people go on Kimbunga Media, they can get the War Report.
All right, brilliant.
And special edition
I'll reach out to Shakara too, so that we can have a quick conversation. If not today, then next week. Yes,
that'll be excellent.
Yeah. All right. So
he's been here to the wall too.
Oh, brilliant. Finally, the book itself, Let the Circle Be Unbroken, is it available also online?
Well, I encourage people. I really do not like Amazon at all.
Right.
I feel like they absolutely exploit us, and we get dependent on them and think that's the only place we can get things. But there is a brother who you may know, Babanati, of African World Books.
Yes.
Out of Baltimore. He is the publisher of the book.
All right, so we made a note of that.
If people they go online, AfricanWorldBooks.com, I think is or African. I think it's actually African world word. You can try that. But if you Google it, you can find everything.
Of course, we'll do that.
That's the way to order the book.
Of course.
And yes, it's available.
All right. Mama Marimba, we have another link outside of Kumasi, so
Okay.
We'll take that, but we'll keep in touch with you as usual. Thank you so much, Midasi, and have a good one today.
Wonderful to talk to you.
Love you.
Okay, here.
Love you more. All right, my sisters, Mama Marimba, Mama Tendai, at the Ancestral Wall in Ghana. The activities are happening today. By the way, you heard Mama Marimba reference the Ma'afa. Now, there are two words that we use in the African-centered community, and one is the Ma'afa when we talk about the transatlantic, that's what they call it, the triangular trade, isn't it? Okay. Well, Mama Marimba tells us it's the Ma'afa. And when we say Ma'afa, we understand exactly how that did go. Just the word alone tell you how that did go. And it just don't tell you what happened. It also prescribes for you what you need to do, understanding the Ma'afa. Special guest online from Ghana this morning. And so listen to me, Ghana is where we're centering this morning. So Hanif Okasi is in Ghana, a returning African along with his family in Ghana. And so he's not at the Ancestral Wall. He's outside of about an hour or so. Outside of Kumasi. All right, let me know what's happening with Hanif Okasi, and we will take that call. Also, we were scheduled to speak much earlier with. We were scheduled to speak earlier with Black Rasta, who was in the studio last week. And is now in Ghana. He just landed, literally in Ghana. So we wanted to make a quick link with him in Ghana. Because, the family coming together, we're doing what we need to do as far as the continent of Africa is concerned. And so we're going to make this link. Right now, we make this connection with our next very special guest online. Hanif Okasi, as I said before, has returned to Ghana, repatriated, if you will, with his family. Hanif, morning. Greetings.
Greetings and salutations, Kabu.
Yes, you're sounding loud and clear. Yeah, we're in. So we just linked with the two lovely sisters, Mama Marimba Ani and Mama Tendai, at the Ancestral Wall, because there's this activity happening. But it's far from you, I'm sure, in another part of Ghana. And where exactly in Ghana are you?
We are in Ashanti land, okay? Which is one of the biggest states. We are amongst the Ashanti people. We're about an hour away from Kumasi, which is the capital.
Right.
But we are in the countryside.
Right.
We live in a village.
And when you say you're in the countryside, in a village, are you deep village or just on the outskirts of big bad Kumasi? Well, big good Kumasi.
No. It is like, how would you call this now? Like I see it as a small rural urban center.
Okay.
But where I live is really deep village. I live in deep village. But it is near these urban centers which tend to be fairly large. What they consider to be villages are like small towns, or for Jamaica, big towns.
Yeah. So we're saying that you've repatriated. You've literally gone home to Ghana. I'm sure that we had a conversation with you on air when you were planning, right? Didn't we? Or was it off air?
We didn't talk. We spoke to each other. We didn't talk on air.
On air, okay. So talk to us a little bit about that process, Hanif. What was it like from decision to landing in Ghana?
Well, the first thing is the decision. You got to just make your mind. You're going. and it doesn't matter what you're going to go, but you're going, right? It took us about 9 months to put everything in place. You know, we set a date to have left, and we actually bought tickets. So when the time comes, no matter what happened, we were going to leave.
Yeah, because the ticket and buried.
And I think it's not fairly expensive.
Yes.
You know, someone booked my tickets, and you know, we didn't go through the Western countries. Right? We went through Panama, and we went through Dutch Holland.
Okay.
Well, somebody actually booked the best tickets for us, like the shortest routes I got.
Okay. So, and I remember one of the challenges you had was, all right, so here we're planning to do this. How do we not just move our bodies, but so as to cut down on costs to take our own things there? And so one of the things that concerned you was shipping. How did that work out?
Well, yes, it worked out fairly well. Again, kind of costly, okay? But we shipped we shipped about 200 kilograms of stuff, our stuff. I mean, like our clothes, our paintings, all of that. Some of our tools. You know, really made a serious move.
Yes.
And we made sure we took what we would want to live here for the period.
What kind of... What kind of research, because you said took what you wanted, did you know that you were considering a rural area as opposed to, say, Accra? And how did that determine?
This thing is strange because I have been doing some work for a rural area for about, 20 years ago. Somebody came to me and asked me if I could set a plan for a rural village. So I had contacts with that friend what asked me to do the work. So I had already had a space in mind because I had already done some work on that, on planning for that village. So I knew where I was coming to. And my friend who asked me to do the work had got me in contact with his friend who lives here in Ghana. Okay. So I was actually going to someone.
How important is that, now that you're there, how important is that kind of a connection, knowing who you're going to or having someone that you're going to?
That is one of the key to all of this, okay? Like any one of these changes, you're going somewhere new and you're planning to move there for a long period. You have to have somebody there who will kind of shepherd you during the first period of your living space. We have been very lucky that we have had and still have people around us who actually look after us. We met a young man and his family, and we kind of adopted them, and they adopted us. And whereas, no, I'm serious. I'll tell you what happened. Yeah. This place is kind of transactional, okay? You're a foreigner coming here, like any other third world country. You're a foreigner going there, and you're considered a foreigner. You're a foreigner going there, you'll have to pay your way. And you'll be overcharged.
All right.
So you go there.
So make we back up a little. You're considered a foreigner.
Yes, you are. They call you a Brunei.
Yeah, a Brunei.
But then I tell you though, my wife is considered Ashanti. They look at her and she's Ashanti, and she tell them, no, I'm a Jamaican. And say, no, you're Ashanti. They tell her to go here and there and get your name and go to your aunties down there.
Yes. So for her, she's not a Brunei. She is Ashanti.
She's Ashanti.
Oh, so she's not having the same experience that you having at all.
Not really, but it is. Look. It is experience. It's not even as I don't take it very seriously.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. I mean, apart from the fact that when you go shopping, you have to be very careful how you shop. But apart from that, I don't take it seriously. I've been, I've lived all over the place, so that isn't, it doesn't count for me.
Yeah.
Really.
And Hanif, as you talk about that, what it reminds me of is when our own people who have, say, lived in England for 20, 25 years and come home, that we will turn around and call them foreigners. So I suppose it's the same, a similar kind of thing.
Similar kind of, and then you are not exactly up there. If I went to the Ivorians, right, up nearer, up further, I think it's east, they look more lighter skin. Okay?
Yeah.
They're really into colorism, you know.
No, I understand, but Africa has many shades of colors and many types of phenotypes.
Shades and,
yeah.
Yes. So remember, the thing is that every tribe has a different DNA. Think about that.
And this is, this is so critical to talk about, because I said something this morning that, I'm getting a lot of texts on it already, that even in space, sometimes we say one Africa, one nation, but it really isn't one Africa. It is ethnicities, and you understand or tribe or ethnic group. And you can identify each other. That's why your wife is Ashanti and you would coming up from. You would be more to the east, yeah.
And then you look, there are Muslims here and different tribes here. And then the Ashantis are, I think the Ashantis are the biggest group here. No, and in Ashanti land by far, I mean, they run this. Yeah. And they are very proud people, extremely proud.
Wow. I know.
Really proud people.
Yeah.
Because they seem to have a special... Huh?
What, if anything, has really surprised you pleasantly?
No white man, no China man, and no Indian. None. Pleasantly surprised. He's seriously at peace.
It's not what you said, it's just how you said it.
No, and I don't. Listen to me. And I'm not going to apologize.
No, do not apologize. No, for
and I've lived with all kind of people all through the earth.
I know.
As I've been to many places here and there. But for the first time in my life, I feel comfortable in my space. For the younger time, I say, I'm going to come out to the capital.
Yeah.
And you say 1 and 2, them as tourists. Really see them.
Yeah.
And it is, if you have a war, you have a war with a black man. If you have a man like somebody, your problem is a black man again. If somebody rob is a black man, somebody help is a black man, a sell is a black man. So therefore, color no longer matters.
Yeah.
Think about it away.
Yes.
Color no matter again.
Yes. Wow.
And that is that. It gives you someone like me who live all over the place. It gives me a peace in my soul.
And so our listeners understand without saying too much. You've lived in Europe for many years, right? And all Europe too.
All Europe, all Asia, America, live here and there.
Yes. So when you say this, you're coming. There's a lot of context to this.
Man. Me live with all kind of people, all kind of nationality, all kind of race. For the first time in my life, me come somewhere me totally comfortable in my space.
Yeah. What are some of the major challenges for persons who are considering making this trek?
All right. First thing, expect nothing. Africa don't owe you nothing. The African people don't owe you nothing. And the better more it's like just like how you and when you have Americans or you have the people we in our Jamaican diaspora come home, people expect them to give. The same kind of way the African expect you coming from the West to give. Yes. So don't come with the expectations that them go bow down on your feet and give nothing. They'll more take from you. That is it.
So it reminds us then of what Molamu Marcus Mazaya Garvey said in terms of going forward to Africa, which is you go with something. You go with you're going with knowledge, or you're going with skills, or you're going to help to rebuild. That kind of a thinking, not to go take from Africa, but to help to give back to Africa, or transactional, as you said.
Even if it's just simply to live, saying you do not expect anything. Saying, but then Africa is a land of possibilities.
Right.
The land of, I will give you a joke. Walking down the road, and part of my street is unpaved. When you're looking at the road, you see gold flakes.
Really?
On the road. So you walk on streets of gold. What am I talking about? Listen to me.
Yes.
When we're my yard there, the chief say, you see 2 miles up the road is the old Ashanti gold mine.
Goodness.
Them can't done it. Him say when him come recently to chase out some Chinese people out there. Come on. This is the thing out there.
I know they're commandeering those mines. So have you been there yet to the old gold mine?
No, but that's practically where I live. Near, I mean.
Okay, it's part of the
it's
land.
not somewhere you go, you know.
Ah.
It's not somewhere you go.
Yes.
Saying, I can't trouble people.
Pardon me. It's somewhere where you live.
Sand.
I understand. Yeah.
You know, where you live. Sand.
Yeah.
You want sand to build house? You just take out the vegetation. You just buy a piece of land, take out the vegetation, and some places you see white sand, like white beach sand. You just take up a tractor, take it up, and carry it to go sell it.
Yeah.
And that's building material, and they don't even sieve it.
Yeah. What's the situation in terms of land and buying or owning and even building?
If you're buying land, especially in the countryside, you have to make sure you buy it through the chief. You have to make sure the chief is honest and working with you.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go and just buy land from somebody like that. Like, you know, you make a... But even you, the things you wouldn't do in Jamaica when you're buying land, you can't come here and do them.
Right.
You know, you buy a piece of land and you don't buy it the right way, and then you find out, say, somebody come and say it's not Finland to sell.
And you can't get the title forever and ever, amen, because you never deal with it right. Yeah.
Amen, right? So if you're buying land, you have to make sure you do it legally.
Mm-hmm.
Then, and then, like, when we're going to buy, we have the chief, because we do some work for the chief, or the same kind of protector.
Mm-hmm.
And we make sure we're going through the chief to do these things.
Yes.
So you have to go the same way in Jamaica. You can't just go give somebody money for land.
No, and thank you for putting, because sometimes. And I know a lot of people have done this going into not just Ghana, but parts of Africa, where you even buy the land before you reach, but the land already sold to 6-7 different people. So there are ways to do things and laws to follow. Talk to us about the role of a chief in the village, honey.
The chief is the be-all and end-all of the village. And the chief is them. When I've seen the councils, when the chief come and there's a council be everybody come in and them sit down, and whatever problem have them tell the chief. And the chief have to make a decision right there and then. See? Or him can defer the decision, but himself will come and make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
See? So they are, and if the chief is there, the village now go to rise up. See? If the chief is hardworking, yeah, then the village will move. If the chief have a vision for the village will move. You know, see?
One of the things that we spoke about off air that I want you to talk a little bit about is how disputes are settled and the role of a chief in all of that, just to build upon that a bit more.
I know, I believe you me. I know the chief is all powerful. So in the villages, the chief have the right to make decisions. Right? No, I don't know how it overlaps with the general legal system.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know in terms of the court system. I don't know how the chief's powers in the village interacts with that kind of system.
Or feeds back into the legal system. But you see, the chief is powerful.
Very powerful people, man. Very powerful.
Do we have anything in Jamaica that's similar?
No, probably the Maroon chiefs. The same kind of thing, the Ashanti. Remember, Maroon people are basically Ashanti, where the leaders of the Maroons are basically Ashanti.
Mm-hmm.
But so therefore, them have a way to run them things. But no, it's not, that is the nearest thing we have figured out. So,
Yeah.
That is the nearest thing. But listen to me. For me, Africa is good. Africa is great. Like South Africa is a land of possibilities. See, Africa is a land where if you're serious about life and you come here and you work hard, you will make it. See, it depends on what it is again, because it is not necessarily money and fear. But all right, then see me, you can make a peace of mind. It depends on what it is.
Is there? Have you? I know you. How long have you been there? Is it a year yet?
No, we're not reached here yet.
Right.
But very near.
We said earlier that we've considered.
Look at more than a year.
Oh, it's over a year.
Look at more than a year.
that Ghana still remains, for so many of us, a gateway to Africa. Are you feeling that, considering the borders, etc., etc.?
Yeah, I will tell you what. For us, I think we are closer to these people. So when you go and assimilate it, it's what comes to come assimilate, and then you can move forward and to other places. Maybe you want to go next door, go to Burkina Faso.
Yeah.
Things are more but less so.
Right.
You know, them kind of people are trying to break the chains, try to break the governmental changes, the governance changes that are needed in Africa.
Yeah.
You understand? So that's the place where we really want to go see. And part of my people come from this too. You know, see. Yeah. So we really want to go over to go look on this and see how. Because again, somebody like me come up for help. Me not want really. You know, you want to live good, but you know what? I don't want to be a millionaire. That's what my aim.
Yeah.
So my aim is to kind of still do what you do, you know, try to give forward and try to spread the knowledge, the technical knowledge, and then the spiritual knowledge what you have.
And Hanif, I don't know if you want to take a minute to talk about your own personal technical knowledge and how that can feed back into the village and other villages in Ghana.
I'll give you a little example. I work with some people, right? And I was saying to them, and he's saying, yeah. And he says, I said, all the houses, I said, they're pretty, but they need a little more, you know, finishing on them. A lot of the houses I see. And he says, how can I help? Can I help to build a school? A construction school? So I'm saying that to say this, that the skill set that is needed here then is in over there in the West that can help, like someone like Hart. See, you transfer pieces of heart come here, so that technical and get them the technical training on a broader level.
Yeah.
You know, see. So that is there are, and like I say, this place I tell you what, this place is a low cost economy. Things are, if you think about it in terms of things are cheap here, they pay you cheaply also. The wages are cheap, but the living is cheap also.
The cost of living low. So you're not right.
Cost of living low.
Yeah.
So you don't need up a money to survive. And the other thing about this that makes it so interesting is that you have, as far as I see, 95 to 98% of the businesses are small businesses. I mean, small businesses. A 10-foot container. A 20-foot container type of business. And everybody specializes in what they specialize in. This is the dress maker, that's the one who sells the drinks, that's the one who sells food, the market is there. And by the way, in the space where I live in, the towns, the small towns around where I live, you can get a market every day. I mean, street market.
Wow. Yeah. We soon come. We have to come. Seriously, this sounds good, and I'm getting a lot of people writing in, just texting in, just contacting me right throughout these interviews in Ghana this morning, and especially listening to what you're saying about persons who are interested, and just saying this is phenomenal. This is excellent news.
If you want to come, make sure you have money for last of your year. Then
how much what that look like? How much money that? Ballpark.
I'm with you. We live in a house, and it's a big house me live in. Really big house. See? And it cost me like to 28,000 Jamaican dollar a month. This house will cost probably 200,000 Jamaican dollar in Jamaica.
That give you an idea. Yeah.
You an idea. So the rent, not, but you pay rent for a year. So by this, your parents, you pay probably, say you pay, say $2,000 for the year. To a big house, massive house.
Yeah.
So that can take a family of 5. Right?
Yes.
Because a 2-bedroom apartment is cheaper. And then food is, all right, so therefore you need about, what I say, to one person, $100 a month. No, $100, no, that's not. So you could say about $200 a month to one person. And again, depends on how you want to live in. If you want to live on the hype, that means that is not what I'm telling you. But I talk about live on the basics.
Yeah.
The basics we are talking about. When I say you're going to come splash and glory. You know? But like transportation is cheap, and cars is second-hand cars, very cheap. Me and myself car for 200 years, 2,000 years, and I look on it. In Jamaica, it's $1 million you got to pay. So that's what I mean. It's a low.
So where these vehicles coming from? Do you know?
Japan. No, because some of them are Ford coming from out of America. I have some of them are French. I hope them are Japan. It's 1 and 2 Chinese. Yeah, but the big trucks now are Chinese. You know, China man take over the big truck business in the world.
Yeah.
You know, see.
Yeah.
You know, see. And there are things to do here. You understand? Me say you don't have to. You know, you can really somebody who's serious, and an education system not too bad either. Education, and all right, you want the nicest thing about Africa, about here in Ghana, and Africa is all over Africa. Kids endless. You know, like when the first 2 months I come to me, I step and pick every time I come.
I know what you mean because I've experienced it. That's what I'm supposed to tell. It's true. It really does feel Hold on. So it is true. I know that I've experienced that. And a very youthful country, and this is across Africa now, and this is where.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Honey, we're totally out of time, so I'm going to give you a final quick word. Yes.
It's just that it is good. I am here and it is good. And Rastafari as guide to this space. Yeah. People who are interested, them come because I don't not waste so much this. The potential and possibilities. You understand what I say? So the farmers, space is here.
Yes.
Land cheap.
I have a question from a mutual friend of ours who says, will he prepare a place for us?
Rastafari place a place. If I want to depend on an enemy, you know.
Stop it.
Come run over.
Yeah. Well, my girlfriends have been asking, will you prepare a place for us? We're coming on. So remember, we tell you.
Listen to me.
Yes.
Listen to me. You have the key to the whole of it.
Yes.
Seek ye first the kingdom of Jah, and everything shall be added. And some child in my life, and everything is added. Yeah, man.
No, well said. Thank you so much, Hanif. Thank you so much. And we talk soon.
Yeah, man. You're welcome.
All right. Give thanks. And let me just get some things out of the way so I can take my next call. Because listen, so we've been talking about how difficult it is for us in Jamaica, those with a Jamaican passport, to get into North Africa. Sister P, thank you for the text, because Sister P also wrote to me to say you need a visa for Morocco. And Sister P, how you get the visa to Morocco? Because when we were in Morocco the last time, we couldn't leave the airport. I broadcast from the airport, if you recall. Those who had American, I think it was American or British visas, could literally leave the airport. And I know we're having a similar problem for Algeria, for Tunisia, Morocco, almost all of North Africa. So one thing that we've been doing here, along with my good friend and former producer on this program, Sondri Shaw, who now lectures at the University of the West Indies. I love Sondri because it is what it is, you know. We deal with the isness of things. We've been working on just trying to figure out what is happening and what is the situation. And so Sondri, as a researcher herself, I had to just throw it in her lap because I kind of just hit a wall and nobody was talking to me anymore. And so Sondri has been working on this in between classes. Sondri, morning, how are you doing?
I am doing well, if you two are well.
I am well, my sister. Thank you so much. I know you're writing a paper as we talk, and you take a few minutes to come off and just to tell us a little bit about where the research is, because I know you're working on this seriously. What have you found out so far, if anything?
Well, the research is still in the baby stages, so maybe about January or so I'll have something more substantial for us today. You know, after all the excitement at university when we get Christmas break.
Yeah.
But so far, I know we spoke about Africa specifically, but I decided to just take a wider look And so I started with the Commonwealth countries. And what I noticed was that although several Commonwealth countries don't need a visa to come here, we need one to go there. But before I get to that, since you mentioned Morocco, let me just start there. So for Morocco, you do need a visa to go there, and they need one to come here. And for them, they need a visa. They need to get that prior to arrival. For us now, if you possess a US or UK visa, or one from Germany, Ireland, Australia, or New Zealand, then you can apply for an e-visa. You're more likely to get through. But if you don't have one of those, as a Jamaican citizen, you must go through the embassy in St. Lucia to get your visa.
St. Lucia for Morocco?
For Morocco. You must go through the embassy in St. Lucia.
In St. Lucia? Well, St. Lucia is even better than Ecuador, where you have to go to get a visa for Tunisia. But
I was looking for that, and I think one of the issues I'm having so far, which is why I made the point that it's in the baby stages, the list I found, it doesn't in all cases outline where you need to go for the visa. So I found it interesting that I was told, I saw that for Morocco, because there are a lot of other countries that don't outline where you go.
Yeah, I suppose one of the things that when we talk next, you can help us to understand is the whether there are consulates on the island, High Commission. Well, I know the only High Commission we have is Nigeria, isn't it?
I know about Nigeria.
South Africa.
South Africa, I don't, right.
Yes.
South Africa is part of the Commonwealth, and one of those countries that you don't need a visa to either go or come.
Right.
As per the list.
But we need a visa for Nigeria.
Nigeria, we should still need one for Nigeria, running up my list just to make sure.
Yes.
And I suspect that as I go through, some of these might be subject to change. So for Nigeria, yes, we do need a visa to go there. So I suspect you go through the High Commission here.
Yeah. I think maybe, I'm not sure about Botswana, we probably don't need. But when you look at Southern Africa, it's not so bad. I think, and tell me what you're seeing so far, is North Africa seems to be where the biggest problem is, because it seems to me that even if you need a visa to go to other African countries, getting it is not so difficult, although I can't imagine that you have to go to St. Lucia to get a visa for Morocco.
All right, so the list, I'm going by the list again, just because I have not been able to confirm everything.
Yes.
And this is what is available to the public from our official Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. So I'm going by their listing. And Botswana doesn't require a visa to go or come.
Right.
However, for Algeria, both ways you do need a visa. What I did not see outlined was where you go to get that visa.
Where you go to get a visa for Algeria.
Right. And then for Egypt, Egyptians need one to come here, and they must get that before arriving here. However, if you want to go there, you must go through Cuba.
Well, this is the thing now. So, Sandra, this is my problem, right? Because remember, we just went to Egypt the other day. And so we got that from the ministry that you go through Cuba. But Cuba says they know nothing about that. And Cuba sent us to Washington. Washington said, no, it's not them, it's New York. New York says, but it used to be us, but it's no longer us, it's Washington. You go back to Washington, Washington said, try Cuba. Cuba said, no, try New York. This is basically what the situation is now if you have a Jamaican passport and want to go into Egypt.
And I can understand the confusion because on the listing, the Jamaica consulate was listed. It says British High Commission. But there is another leg of the confusion again. You don't know where exactly to go, which is something I definitely have to look into because you're telling me that I should go through. You're telling me I should go through Cuba, but then Cuba is telling me I should go to Washington. If I need to get somewhere else, for the most part, I realize that maybe if I have a German visa, I'm safe for not going through all of these different consulates and embassies.
Yes, and I don't buy into the Schengen visa thing. You know, I think that there's an issue there too. I think maybe that's what is there. But when you test it, you are, because I don't know that we can apply for e-visas for many of these countries. That even if you have a Schengen, you still can't apply for e-visas because they lock you out to say Jamaicans. Your passport not eligible.
I know. You're definitely locked in.
I know, Sondri, that it's an ongoing research. Where do you go next with it? What's the next move?
All right, so I noticed that the Schengen visa is really listed quite frequently. And so I thought my next step would be there to see how easy or how difficult it is for me to get that visa. Because even if I want to go to Greece, that is where I would have to go. That's a visa I would have to go to.
Right.
And then listed there is the Embassy of Spain. So, I need to figure out how I get that visa from here. And the same thing applies if I'm going to France. So stopping there next.
Yeah.
And then looking specifically into North Africa and perhaps the Middle East, which I really don't subscribe to. Middle East, I think it's a broken off part of Africa that will live as a Middle East.
Of course, yes. Yeah.
I'm going there, and it would be interesting also to understand why we have so many members of the Commonwealth who have access to our country without visa requirements, but we are not granted the same opportunities.
Well, look at England. Look at the UK. Them soon kick you out of England, because listen, we're just dragging our feet on this thing, and them soon tell we all kind of bad word for get out of them place and left them alone and left them monarchy. This is how embarrassed Jamaica is going to be. You look at the situation with the UK. We need a visa to go, and yet we go into Parliament and into court and every place in this.
God save the king.
We're talking about God save Charles. And William and George. This is getting out of hand. It's ridiculous.
And I find also a common thread is that so many African countries that I thought we would have had better access to. I was surprised to find that Mozambique needs no visa to come here, but we need one to go there. Mozambique is also a part of the Commonwealth. Cameroon needs a visa to come here, and we need one to go there, but we don't know if we need to get that before we go or en route. But like Venezuela, for example, where you're provided that visa while in travel or while in transit, and then diplomatic officials are given that for free. So it's usually diplomatic and official passports that are given a pass in most instances. But as a regular citizen, you don't get to travel and see the world without all these restrictions on you.
Yeah, and one of the things that I'd like later on, and I know it's going to be a complex and complicated work for you, but you're on it already, so it is what it is. Is to look to see what is Barbados doing differently, what is Mia Motley doing differently, because all these countries that we're talking about in Africa, 95% of them you can leave from if you have a Barbadian passport, you can go straight from Barbados. If I had Barbadian citizenship, I could leave straight from Barbados to go to Tunisia tomorrow morning if I wanted, without a visa. And
Jamaicans and Ireland is landlocked, eh?
Yeah. So Jamaica is landlocked in many ways. We're landlocked when it comes to the beaches, and we're landlocked when it comes to Africa. I am wondering, and maybe something that we can pursue, if there is any connection to the way Jamaica votes at the United Nations and Jamaica's relationship with the United States that is locking us out of Africa, specifically North Africa. This is my thinking.
Mm-hmm. I'll definitely look into that.
Yes.
And it would be understandable that is the case for many reasons, but I'll look into that before making any definitive statements right now, even as a historian.
Yes, I know. Let me do it as a journalist.
Yeah.
And we'll talk again soon. I suppose you'll give us an update before the year is out, and then, next year, I'm sure we're still going to be working on this. All right.
Certainly. Just make the call and I'll be available.
Thank you so much, my sister, Sondri Shaw.
Always happy to be a part of the Africa Forum.
Appreciate it. Researcher and historian. Right, literature buff. Thank you, sis.
You take care.
All right, okay. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. As African people, yes, we come under Ma'afa, and we never come, we were kidnapped. Our ancestors although many of us came before Columbus. But anyway, generally speaking, we've been through the Ma'afa. We've been through enslavement, chattel slavery. We've been through colonialism and neo-colonialism. And we say we are independent, but as I keep saying in this space, the promise of emancipation has not been fully realized, because part of that is that connection or reconnection to the continent of Africa. We're talking to so many who are in Ghana. 500 and odd just got their citizenship. Even that is a process of getting citizenship. But I think that if Mia Mottley can do it in Barbados, the way she's doing it, ensuring that she's trading directly with Barbados is trading directly with continental Africa. And once again, we say Africa is a continent with many countries and many ethnic groups, many different parts of Africa. We have to move beyond 1884. 1884 is what they did. We before that. We before time. We before they knew time, before they make time, before them understand time. So that just to find ourselves locked into a situation where we have the convergence of the digital technologies, and we have advancement in technology to the point now we're talking about transhumanism. Elon Musk is talking about colonizing Mars, and we don't reach Africa yet. They have destroyed the earth and now trying to colonize Mars, and we don't find continental Africa yet. We're locked out, but they are there. It's easy for them. They're all over Africa. Once again, Africa is a continent. We know what is happening in North Africa, but we know that Carthage is in Tunisia. And so when we talk about Hannibal, we want to look on Carthage, disregarding any kind of Islam incursion, like when we go to the Nile River, whether it is from Lake Tissisat in Ethiopia, or Lake Tana, or the Tissisat Falls in Ethiopia, or in Uganda, all the way up to Egypt. We ignore the incursion. We ignore the new colonizers, the settler colonizers, because we understand the history before we move in. So there are many of us who want to move across Africa, back and forth, and we're finding it extremely difficult to do so. And it seems to me as if the government of Jamaica has no interest in normalizing relationships or having diplomatic relationships with Africa as a continent or Africa as regions. So all of North Africa is a problem. All of North Africa. Do not try. I know that enough people don't want to go to North Africa, but let me tell you something. I want to go to the pyramids from time to time. I want to go sail upon the River Nile from time to time. I want to go right on the border between that place where them call Israel. Right there's going to be another sea there where them call the Red Sea. From time to time. Yes, you understand what I'm saying? And then I want to go to Carthage. But it's not me alone. It shouldn't be that because we want to go. It should be that we have these diplomatic relations and relationships with the continent of Africa because of our historical connection, because of our DNA connection, because of our tribal connection, because of our ethnic connection, because it is the motherland and the fatherland and the antiland. Basically, that's what it is. How come as people who were brought here as enslaved Africans and those who were co-opted, who came before Columbus but were co-opted into this farce of a nation, that we find ourselves being locked out of the continent of Africa. So I am imploring the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Let it start with you. Borrow Mia Motley's template. Have a discussion with her. And let us see how we can begin to develop relationships with Africa, continental Africa. And for me, what is urgent is to open a way to North Africa. Open a way. The thing is that we can't do it, We used to say that, well, let us go, and this is what we've been doing, Sister P, Sister Minnie, Eileen Thomas Gifford. We've been doing, the Black Star Liner is what Eileen Thomas Gifford called this whole process. And so we've been doing it, but we can do it only to the extent that we have access to these spaces, which our blood is tied to. The blood of the covenant is tied to. And the blood of the covenant, they say, is thicker than the blood of the womb. So it's the blood of the covenant. We have a blood covenant with Africa. North Africa, South Africa, East Africa, West Africa, Central Africa, and the Middle Africa. This is exactly how it is. Anyway, but on a very, very serious note, we're appealing to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to start the process, before we even start about Prime Minister, to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to start this process of making North Africa and other parts of Africa, East, West, South, Middle, North. But North Africa is urgent, accessible to the people of Jamaica. Time for the Supreme Ventures draw. And thank you, Muta, because Muta is reminding us, no visa for South Africa. Right, so no visa for South Africa, no visa for Ghana, no visa for Ethiopia. But it is what it is in terms of a lot of the countries. Botswana also no visa. All right, let me go to this. I'll be right back. Oh.
But the strength is there still.
Yes. You sound good. You sound strong.
Okay. And also lecturer at the University of the West Indies in Department of Government.
Okay. All right. Brilliant. And
good.
Yes. So first of all, Louis, let's talk quickly before we look at Michael Manley in context at the event that's coming up on December 10.
Okay. Yes. There are two events on the same day, a different time. Mm-hmm. My idea of a celebration of the life and times of Michael Manley would be something that I would take to the masses. This is how people remember Joshua. Because, you see, 1972 was like a second emancipation in Jamaica. And though people speak about Michael in terms of working class, equality, and this, it was really black people he was working on. So when you're going to have an event to celebrate the life of such a great man, I cannot understand our dinner at the Pegasus, and these are my comrades organizing it. I'll be going, but I question it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't see it look appropriate in terms of who the man, was. Mm-hmm. The other event with Motley is at the Little Theatre. Mm-hmm. Many little people downtown and all those stuff, it was probably what they would understand.
Yes.
But have something in the open. Have something that recognize this and illustrate the spirit of the man with the people, that he was there for. Mm-hmm. In other words, I'm saying this. Michael Manley came and he saw. And what he decided to do was to approach the problem, the origin of the problem, to find solutions for the problem.
You yourself, and I know that we've been talking online about the social media, where you talk about the different sides. Sides of Michael Manley. And I want you to break down those different sides of Manley for us as we seek to contextualize him before we move into. So what side of Manley remains in the PNP?
It's a tricky question, because none of the events to celebrate Michael Manley is really done by the PNP.
Mm-hmm.
I was critical of the PNP in an article after the 86 conference. Say, look here, Michael Manley anniversary, this great man, is, December 10th. You have your conference, September, which is close to December 10th.
Mm-hmm.
And you did not even mention one thing about Michael Manley.
Mm-hmm. They might celebrate him today, since the JLP has co-opted the Manley philosophy.
No. Are you saying it as a joke, But the Jamaica Labour Party has done well in co-opting ideas of Michael Manley than the PNP.
Mm-hmm.
And it is very sad, because you find you have new people in politics who do not have any sense of the political history. Mm-hmm. So you will see people now projecting Michael Manley in his jacket and tie.
Mm-hmm.
And let me say this to you. I remember reading a letter to the editor, because the Michael Manley that I'm studying, the Michael Manley that I'm going to present on December 3 to 5th at the university, keeping something and that we can talk about later, is looking at Michael Manley from 1969 to 1979.
Mm-hmm.
Good? And the thing about it is that there are two sentences that I will always remember. And these are the side of Michael Manley, you see. One, the word is love. He went to a meeting with Hugh Shearer in Southern Clarendon. And he said while Hugh Shearer was giving his gimmicks, he wanted to find out how he's going to address the workers. And after the salutation, he said, and to the masses, the word is love. And he said the place exploded.
Mm-hmm.
It gave him for the first time that confidence that he could communicate with the masses, that he began to learn from the trade union. So the first Michael Manley, you see, is Joshua, the trade union leader.
Mm-hmm.
That is the first Michael Manley.
And how did that present? And you're saying that present as a defender of labor rights of the masses of the people. This is what I hear you saying?
Well, look here. Michael Manley
in other words, who is Moses?
No, Joshua. I don't know. Look here. These people do not bring names on themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Good?
Yeah.
So some people might see his father as Moses. I do not know that story.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no direct link between Michael Manley and his father getting him in politics. For all I care, his father was preparing P.J. Patterson and Mr. Blake in terms of the next kind of leadership in the PNP.
Mm-hmm.
But the JBC strike was an important strike, an important milestone in terms of labor activities in Jamaica. They blocked the roads and stuff like that, marching around halfway through, and then somebody look at him and say, there goes Joshua. Marking around that kind of thing. And the politics in Jamaica on both sides of the fence have been kind of biblical and this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So Manley took on this kind of resurrecting not only the traditional PNP politics, but also resurrecting Pan-Africanism.
Mm-hmm.
Good?
And well, talk to us a little bit about that before you move to the next Manley, because you're saying obviously 4 or you have identified different sides to Manley, which is one is a Joshua in the early days, but you're also talking about somebody who has now tapped into Pan-Africanism, which I suppose we have to define that when we're talking about Michael Manley.
Yes. All right. Now, the thing about Michael Manley is that I have now, in my own work, I've located Michael Manley among theorists of decolonization and the development, such as Kwame Nkrumah, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Good?
Yeah.
That Michael Manley came into politics from the trade union side. He brought philosophy into politics.
Mm-hmm.
He said, look here, you cannot have power and do not have a philosophy. No, you say you can, but if you have power and have a philosophy, all you'll be doing is serving yourself and serving people. Good, but having a philosophy means that you are going to develop policies to respond to the historical and current situation in your country.
So this is something that the PNP has moved away from totally, right? This idea and this ideology of Manley, with having power and having a philosophy. This is what the PNP has moved away from this totally, hasn't it?
Well, yes. One of the things we need to look on, and as I say, I steer with the Manley 68, 69 to 79. But let me say this. Even though Michael Manley, all right, what Michael Manley did in 1989, you see, you remember the history of the PNP in which the 4 H's were expelled. Somewhere around 1952, so the PNP could win an election. Well, because the whole Cold War politics, there were 3 countries targeted, British Honduras, British Guyana, which are the J-Gun, and of course Jamaica. Well, now, 20 years after, Michael Manley came and kind of reversed that situation. He came back with the leftist attitude in the PNP that was muted. Now, when Michael Manley came back in 1989 and decided to continue Siaga's policy, then we should not wait for another 20 years to say, look, that did not work and we need to go back to basic.
Well, let me ask you a question on this. And this is a genuine question, because I've been looking at this closely. To what extent has the Jamaica Labour Party under Andrew Holness moved closer to that thinking of the PNP as opposed to the PNP itself?
I will think that when you look on, sometimes it's just about words. But in terms of social policies, and there's a certain radio station that Andrew Holness has just really captured to deal with the social programs, to express concern about the operation of education. I mean, like most recently, I heard the Prime Minister said something about dealing with the primary school, that primary schools are putting too much economic pressures on parents and stuff like that. Because one of the first concerns Michael Manley did was to look about food and uniform for primary school students. Now, the issue of social housing is something that is related to PNP. It's not anything that is new. The Prime Minister is trying to make it look like it is something new. It is not anything that is new.
What he's managing to do is to take charge of that narrative, which the PNP seems to have lost totally, and not just lost, but because the PNP seems to be in some kind of albeit coming together better now, but has been in disarray for such a long time. To what extent do you think that this played into that vacuum that Andrew Holness led JLP managed to hijack that narrative?
Okay, I can illustrate it to a meeting I went to after powerful Region 3 of the PNP. Most recently, let me say this. There is the lack of political education and discussion of the party political narratives inside the movement. This has been so because when you have new leadership in political parties, new leadership likes to dominate the politics and do not allow people in. People in these political parties are divided into who was in power and who is in power now. So what you have are a set of people who do not have a clue about political history in general in Jamaica, or a clue in terms of political history of the PNP that are in the leadership of the Jamaica Labour Party. Sorry, in the leadership of the People's National Party, right? So, I was invited to give a talk on Michael Manley. And once I opened my mouth, what I saw was a thirst for this kind of political education knowledge. It is not just about Michael Manley, the politician. It is about Michael Manley as a great political thinker. Mm-hmm. In the end, I was surprised at the kind of ovation I received from the people, and I realized that while people want this kind of fertile political discussion, the leadership is not able to give it to them, and they refuse to bring those who can do it into the system.
Let me ask you this, though, because when you think about Michael Manley, and I suppose for those who are not necessarily students and scholars of Manley like myself, you immediately think, democratic socialism. For those of us who watch the documentary Bad, I think it's Bad Debt. What's it called again? The Stephanie Black documentary.
Yes.
So you think about democratic socialism, and yet we find we're in a situation now, politically and otherwise, economically, globally, of a neoliberal kind agenda, if you will, and we find the PNP now has, to me, because you say it's not what you say, it's really what you do. Andrew is saying one thing, but he has also embraced the neoliberal agenda and rolling that out. Then you have the PNP, which seems in this time to me to be totally anti-Michael Manley in terms of putting forth a neoliberal agenda, which is closer to what you said, you'd be a Siaga kind of a thinking, or a conservative kind of a thinking.
Yes. I must say this. I came under a lot of fire for writing the thing publicly to deal that in terms of the party. But I don't mind that, because I know on the ground that there are party members who are accusing the leadership of the party of being anti-Michael Manley. I know that as a fact because it is on social media, and at times I would take on those people.
All right. So we see an ideological shift, but does that mean anti-Manley, you think? Because obviously there's an ideological shift.
I just think it's a matter of ignorance and arrogance. I think that there's a set of people who believe that it is totally not important, and another set who do not know. But I'm going to say this. I think that they need to deal with this because this is a very serious issue.
But let me ask you that on the back of that. Is there an ideological shift? Because that's what you started out by saying. And then what are the implications for this on the party? And can they go back to what you're saying? Hold that for me, Louis. Let me just take a quick break. Sorry.
Yes.
You didn't know that Jamaica's unemployment rate is at its lowest ever? Yes, so more Jamaicans are working and can provide for themselves and their families. Your government is building Jamaica.
The time by the Office of the Prime Minister is
4 minutes now after 9 o'clock. This segment of the program is brought to you courtesy of Excelsior Community College, celebrating 50 years of academic excellence. So the hour between 9 and 10 a.m., brought to you courtesy of Excelsior Community College, celebrating 50 years of academic excellence. On the phone lines, Dr. Louis Moyston, lecturer in the Department of Government at the University of the West Indies, consultant and radio talk show host. And we're looking at Michael Manley's centenary, 100 years after, and with the PNP. We don't have a lot of time, Louis, so let me just let you answer that about the ideological shift, because you're saying the PNP needs to return, I hear you saying, draw closer to the ideology of Michael Manley. But at the same time, if there's this shift, then what are the implications?
All right. I mean, what they're going to tell you is that the shift began with Michael Manley.
Okay.
Michael Manley just said continuity, but genuinely I thought that he wanted to help some more black people, especially those in the era of entrepreneurship, to take a bigger share into the economy. And you will see it, some of them feel him like a workers and workers bank kind of problem and things like that. But I'm saying now that what you find out, Michael Manley led a revolt against the West. That when Margaret Thatcher met with Bush #1 in Aspen, Colorado, 1990. She said this. And this is how you know the profound thing that Michael Manley made. She said, look here, when you come with this new non-aligned movement, new international economic order, nationalization and stuff like that, we don't confuse, we don't know politics, we don't know economics. All of the need for do now is to open up in a country for investment. Look, that tells me that was the power in terms of this revolt that Michael Manley led. No, it is not about going back to Michael Manley. It's going back to the core values of the People's National Party.
Which would be what?
But the core values itself is a people-centered political system, which both parties now have embraced the whole neoliberal order. What we have seen now is a commercialization of every aspect of society. And what is important in politics now is popularity and not any kind of substance. And it is a dangerous situation.
So is there clearly, as far as you see, what's the clear difference between the JLP and the PNP in terms of whether it is ideology or economic policies?
The only difference is that the JLP is most corrupt. But in terms of political, and it is really true,
yes.
You know, I don't look here, man.
Yes.
If you go and look on the history, you'll see it. But basically, in terms of political operation, and I even see PNP talking about growth. Growth is the way. GROTTH. It is not the way. It is development. That's the way, because you can have growth without development. I'm not an economist. But you have been trying to grow for a long time and prosper for a long time. But you see what is coming back. You can see now that the BRICS movement is coming. I've seen editorial in the Jamaica Observer about poor countries need to get together. This is what Michael Manley started from in the 1970s.
Yes. So that in terms of the economic policies, we have not heard, or maybe we're not listening as closely as we should, anything articulated by the PNP that would suggest that it understands the economic policies and the social policies too of this Michael Manley that we're talking about, the democratic socialist.
All right, yes. Michael Manley's idea, when you look on democratic socialism, and how I could put it into context, is by teaching African politics and look on Kwame Nkrumah. And Kwame Nkrumah said, look here, we can't bother with this Western system anymore. We're going to declare a republic, and we're going to have conscientism, which is a cultural, philosophical change, and we're going to declare African socialism. And by African socialism, what we're going to try to do is to try to return to some of the traditional values in terms of community and, cooperative system and landowning system, and to go against Western values of individualism. Now, what we see is a new kind of individualism that emerged after 1980. You see, the next thing is that the government must play an active role in the economy. And if somebody is going to tell you that according to their history, government must not play a role in the economy and you want to follow them, it is great stupidity.
But that takes us to the point you made earlier, which is to say, the PNP might say to you that the ideological shift and otherwise started with Michael Manley. Michael Manley himself apologized, I think, when he came under the hammer of Reagan and Margaret Thatcher. Later on, apologized, right or wrong, I think so, for all of that. But I don't think he could have controlled what was unleashed on Jamaica under the rolling out of the neoliberal project.
It was difficult to control. I understand from a very good source that when I asked somebody that was extremely close to him why this switch, and the person said he felt bad about what happened during the 70s and the violence and the killing and the hardship. And he just wanted to do something to pay back the Jamaican people. While that was so, I think, deep in his heart, what people will remember Michael Manley is a challenge that he put to the West. For example, when people are now talking about the GLP, especially one of his program, grow what you eat and eat what you grow, something like that. This was a central part of the PNP thing, not just in the 70s, before that. Because I'm saying that when you look at the PNP, for example, the Jamaica Industrial Development Corporation came out of the movement Jamaica Welfare by Norman Manley. That when it comes on to rural development, the PNP was there. The JLP wasn't really a political party, you know. The JLP was just a wing of the BITU, and he was instructed by Governor Richards to form a party, and we will let you out of the detention camp because PNP is socialist. It had no real ideas. Because even the issue with IDC, Norman Manley gave it to the Jamaica Labour Party and they went for Lightburn in England to come and carry out this kind of thing. So when you look at things like rural development, mark you, the GLP is just talking these policies, you know, but there's no actual...
What they're doing is different. Yes, they're saying what they're saying. I mean, it sounds good to the people, and people dance and jump and so on. They're controlling that narrative, you know, and you wonder how come people are being hypnotized by it, but it is working to some extent in terms of the hypnosis. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you saw the press conference that Andrew Holness did, or if you've read the back of it. But if you look in the room, you see that it's neoliberal agenda. It is a public-private partnership. It's a private sector taking control. But at the same time, the head, if you looked behind him, it says pivot. So they are pivoting now, understanding that the neoliberal agenda has failed and the people are revolting. They are pivoting. They are pivoting now toward democratic socialism, but only in words. And this is where people again are being fooled. And this is why I'm saying the PNP to some extent has allowed the JLP to capture that narrative, to capture it and own it and have a press conference about it while they are still trying to figure out themselves.
All right. For example, the JLP spoke about PNPism recently.
Of course.
And all of a sudden, the PNP is fighting, saying PNPism is this, allowing the JLP to control their propaganda.
Exactly.
There should be no response to it because they keep on talking about PNP mash up the country. And I said to some of them, say, when I go look on the internet for this man named Little Note Miller, and I show a posse trial, and him tell you, who used to work for in Jamaica and what kind of violence they used to carry out and work with the CIA. And the PNP has all of this and don't even know how to use it to defend themselves. And say, no, mash up, no, we did do the mashing up. It's only do the mashing up. And this is how it really go. Because people need to understand, look here, the world is changing right now. Most of the power shifts are going inside Asia and stuff like that.
Yes.
We know we'll have to form a new kind of alliance, new kind of Pan-Africanist business, because we are going to be forced to do it by Trump in the White House. So might as well we stop being quiet right now. And we need to get on the offensive because what is going to happen is probably one day BlackRock will take over Jamaica and fly them flag in Jamaica because these leaders that we have inside here have no interest in rural development or any development in Jamaica, what you would see in the 1970s and stuff like that. Yes. And all they want to do is foreigners. When foreigners control your economy, it means to say you're out of existence. That was slavery time.
Yes. So Nigel Clark he's come and he's done what he came to do. He never planned to stay no much longer than now. It is not a fluke. He came to do exactly what he did, which is to ensure that you cement the neoliberal agenda. They've done a pretty good job at that. Andrew now is pivoting. He's pivoting, as I said before, because prosperity is failing. Prosperity is for 5% or 1%, and they recognize that the people are not buying into the prosperity, understanding that it's only scamming work. But the bottom line to me, though, is that the PNP has the very same thinking of this public-private partnership. Prosperity doctrine is the same thing them on, and also the neoliberal agenda. But just finally to say, Louis, that it seems to me also as if there is this internal conflict that continues in the PNP, this is not new. This obviously, it couldn't be something that just come up the other day. This is too deep-seated and deep-rooted for it to be anything just coming after...
No, sir, it's not new, Sir, let's say this. The effort to bury Michael Manley in the PNP history is not new. But the only difference is that the leader of the PNP is new. And if you come in and new and you behave like you go with the tradition where you come and see, people are going to take you on. And I think that is where we are now.
Let me give you a final note just to talk about the lecture you're going to give and what you're going to be addressing.
Okay, December 3 to 5th, University of the West Indies Social Science Faculty will be hosting a conference to recognize the significance of Michael Manley in domestic and international politics. And I will be presenting on Michael Manley and the revolt against the West, 1969 to 1979. And I'm making a very simple statement that the ideas of Michael Manley were set out to challenge the Western order that we came and we inherit, both domestically and national and internationally. And some simple things, like when you think about equality of men and women, when you think about Bastardy Act, and when you think about the master and servants law in 1972, that was enacted in 1838. And these are fundamental things. The whole thing to develop cooperatives, which, may have failed and stuff like that. But it was a thing of building a new community in which we could have cooperation among the people. And the really only honest person will come forward and say, look at this tribalism thing, cannot work. 1976, many JLP people voted for Michael Manley. You see, the appeal, the international thing now is conviction to African liberation. And this is where there's a young student, Peter Anlong, who did a study on Michael Manley and look on his issues regarding Garveyism and Pan-Africanism. My one thing is that Michael Manley was a part of that process to debrief the ex-slaves in Jamaica.
All right. So, once again, the place and time?
Huh?
Where's the lecture going to happen?
Yes. December 3 to 5 at the university. Details on the time will come out shortly.
All right, okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Louis Moiston, lecturer in the Department of Government at the University of the West Indies and consultant. Thank you so much, my brother, as usual.
One.
All right, we're back with you inside of the Africa Forum. What a song to say. We're back with you inside of the Africa Forum. This is Running African, going through until 10 o'clock. And look who is in the studio. No, sir. There's something you need for stopping up. But let me just do this first. The hour between 9 and 10 brought to you courtesy of Excelsior Community College, celebrating 50 years of academic excellence. That's 9 to 10 brought to you courtesy of Excelsior Community College, celebrating 50 years of academic excellence. Thank you so much, Excelsior, for coming on board. I'm going to put on my glasses. Come here for look and see over there, sir. Look here, no man. Look here, no man. Without the ear, without the edge, no. We want I mean, I see, man. Somebody forgot to read it out for me. What's the word about this? Repeal. We want...
Repeal and replacement.
Okay, this thing I block it right here, so. Read it for me.
We want repeal and replacement of the Beach Control Act of 1956.
You want to see the big sign? Somebody need to contact that picture and put it on the social media. We want repeal and replacement of the Beach Control Act of 1956. Yes, sorry.
Start the thing.
How much it measure? How much by how much?
This is a 5x5.
It's taller than me if you turn it the other way.
But we have some 12x4s outside there,
There you go. Yes, sir. Dr. Devon Taylor in the studio. My brother. How you do, sir?
Diaphanity, and the works,
Damien, we see you, Well, your mic on. Let me just turn it off. Okay,
Good morning to Kabu and your listeners out there.
Yeah, thank you both. But you were all, because I catch the YouTube link, Vatican, on the backside. I want to finish. So I go back and watch. I realize you were all demonstrating yesterday. There was a protest yesterday.
Yes, there was.
Tell us about the protest, quick.
Yeah, so yesterday we were down at Roaring River because, we had some new developments. That 741.3 acres of the Roaring River land have been transferred to Czech. On that land sits the beautiful Roaring River, the Little River, and it's a big part of the Rayabuna watershed that provide water security for much of northeast Sentan. And that land is slated to develop over 834 houses, housing 4,000 people. And they're going to also change the course of the river. So there's going to be ecocide in that space. And so we have to protect and fight against that.
Devon, you know my problem, right? My problem is they did not hide this from us. This was not a secret. We knew. I went, after watching your interview yesterday, I went back and checked on change.org to see when I put up the thing. It's 10 years.
Yeah.
So we have had this information for 10 years. Over 10 years.
Yes.
How come we are where we are, where we know, and it still happen, and this is happening right across Jamaica, where we have the information, we know what they're doing, we know what they're about to do, and sometimes we know for 10 years. But it is when it is done, and we have not seen them taken back anything yet, regardless of what Daryl Vance said over there in Portland. The lease is up, him say. That's a whole different conversation. But how come?
Yeah, well, so they take the people for granted. And, I should say the revelation that the 1,200 acres that is promised to Czech for the highway, all right, we didn't think it would have been like 741 that they would have handed out. We thought it was 167 in the first release. So this is new information. Now, them almost give them half of the land already. But, the governments of Jamaica take the Jamaican people for full.
Yeah, this was signed off under Portia Simpson Miller.
Yes.
This is what we must understand. So this is a two-party, everybody in it, mix up and give a Jamaicans.
And that's what we've been saying yesterday, that the two political parties, there's one thing them agree upon, is to leave Jamaica landless. You know what I mean? And to take away all of the beaches then, because as we can say, we are asked for repealment of this act because this act is in for 68 years and many change of administration, right? And them did not more remove it, none of them. Here come Roaring River, one administration sign off on it, one administration hand it over. So the people are suffer at the hands of these politicians, them in alignment when it comes down to transferring the wealth of the country as it relates to lands and beaches to the rich.
Damon, is it that the people don't care?
Yeah,
we the people don't care.
I don't think it's that the people don't care, Kabu, because as I was saying to Devon, because we do, let's be frank, we do have difficulty getting people to stand up publicly, to come out and stand up publicly. And Dr. Meistein said something in his interview a while ago where he's saying essentially he's saying there's a duopoly. It's just really, it's kind of like a uniparty with a couple of differences. It's kind of like you go in the store and you see toothpaste and you say, whoa, there's a whole heap of, a lot of different options, but it's just the same Colgate, and one say with baking soda, one said brighter smile, one said prettier smile, one said lovelier smile, but it's the very same thing with a different packaging. And how did we get here? What Professor Meistein is talking about is neoliberalism, as you're talking about. And how did we get to neoliberalism? It's really about 1968 and the bifurcation, where we had two different ideas as to how the world was supposed to go. And one, Davos won, which we now call the World Economic Forum, WEF. So it was Porto Alegre, which was the Brazilian socialist ideology, democratic socialist ideology, versus hardcore capitalism, or big capital capitalism, where they decided that the only way to political freedom is for everybody to have a chance at wealth. But really what happened was a con, because everybody can be billionaires, and that's what happened. And prior to this rally, went to a couple churches and made a couple appeals, and they were warm. And I was noticing something in the church, which is weird because I'm not really a church person, but the churches are half empty, and some churches have 10% of the capacity in Steertown, in Jamaica. So the churches are being hollowed out.
Yeah, so this is global, really, but definitely national.
But we consider ourselves more.
No, do not say that we're a Christian country.
No, I mean, we consider ourselves more religious. Maybe not righteous, but at least religious.
Yeah.
We like to say it.
Yeah, that's a myth, isn't it, though? It's like how America is the greatest Christian country, and they're killing off all the people in
it was a bit shocking.
In Gaza.
And I realized that this place is broken. First of all, it was, even if the church didn't believe, even if the church was delusional about their value, they at least could parade that they believed it. But it was, I've never seen quiet churches before, since now.
Yeah, so what role, so all right, so you're saying even the social space, which is a church, which a church obviously have a serious amount of clout in Jamaica. And we see every time there is an election, they all go to the church and they're allowed to sit on the pulpit. So to me, recognizing and understanding the isness of things, which is that every church in Jamaica, barring none, is aligned to a political party. So the churches themselves are tribal. And so if you notice, whenever election time comes on, they are in the church and they're sitting on the pulpit. So we know how it works. I go back to the question then, Devon, which is to say, so if it's not that people don't care, but that somehow there's apathy, how do we move this? Because they themselves recognize the apathy and they recognize that they can con the people, to use Damien's word. I mean, so how do we move this regardless of the signs and the protests?
Yeah, so we have to reactivate the activism on different levels, right? So we take it to the streets, but we also take it to the courts. And we take it to all the courts we can take it to. So we're not stopping in Jamaican courts. If we ever take this thing to the inter-American courts, you know what I mean, we'll take it there.
All right, Devon is on the radio.
We'll take it to there. We'll take it to inter-American court. We'll take it to EAG. We'll take it everywhere. We'll take it to United Nations, right?
So this is a long game.
Long game.
But let me ask you, what is the threat to your person, to our person?
Well, you know, once you're standing up for an issue which is popular or an issue which is runs contrary to the interest of power, you're always going to be under some kind of threat, some kind of physical threat or something. But Devon and I discussed this, and we said we just have to keep going because the fight is on our doorstep. And yes, sometimes there's fear, but you just have to keep going. I don't think I have another choice. So we try to just look at it that way. And we can discuss that even
another
further.
time.
But what I wanted to say,
courage
Kabu,
is not the absence of fear, which is basically what you're saying.
Yes, what I wanted to say is that...
over 30 seconds, it's lengthy. And she's speaking about the NHT. And it boggles the mind. Make we listen to her and come back and talk about it next week, hopefully. All right? It is quite something. It is quite something. She's well researched and she knows what she has said, and she's coming from a space of knowledge, but it is frightening. And Louis Moiston is just reminding us that he will be attending both functions at UE on December 10, the meeting at Little Theatre and the dinner at the Pegasus. And he doesn't want anyone to think that he's boycotting. He's going to be at those two sessions. And Mr. Bigay is in the house as we make way. Good morning, Mr. Bigay. How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine.
Good to have you in the house.
Just waiting on my time.
I know. Yeah, can you imagine? A minute now to 10 o'clock. And Bigay himself is here. Have you been to the circus as yet now? Circus is in town? You know, anything our girlfriend Judith is involved in, we know we're there. So whatever we want to go to the circus, yes or no, we are go.
We have to go.
Yeah, we have to go. So Judith, welcome to the circus, sir. From your name, call upon it. Welcome to it. Is it going to be in Archery?
Yeah.
Oh, where? Buckfield?
I'm not sure. But...
Okay. All right. So Judith, which one the circus out there, Archery? Because, like we know everything, something we know your name called on the circus thing. We see you with a microphone and we see you on the stage and we ask questions. So we're going to the circus, sorry. I like the promotion around the circus. I think it is deliberate. You see, I don't know if you've noticed. The way social media is being used, the way influencers are being used, the way young people are being used. This has to be deliberate. It's not organic. Yeah, it is interesting. I know you like it, though. I know you like it as a marketer. All right, so this is how we're leaving it. We're making way now for the big inside of the Sunday sunshine. I don't want to take no chance with Peter, so let me go over here so I'll come out like this, right? Because if we take chance with Peter, no. All right, let me do this. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being a part of the forum. Thanks for writing in, for texting in, and for just all together being there on the Android, on the app, and every how you're listening. Thanks to everyone in Ghana, in England.